Hi, welcome to another edition of Bauer Business Bites. My name is David Tighe, the Managing Director of Bauer Media here in Northern Ireland, and it's my pleasure this week to catch up with Kerry Boyd, who's the Chief Executive of Autism NI. Kerry, welcome to Business Bites.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Let's get straight into the conversation. Tell us about Autism NI. Tell us about its aims and objectives, a little bit of history of the organisation.
Well, Autism NI is Northern Ireland's main autism charity. We have been around for over 30 years. We were actually established back in 1990. And we were established at a time where not a lot of people knew what autism even was. We didn't have the first diagnosis of autism here in Northern Ireland until the late 1990s. So actually, whenever Autism NI was first established, all of our parents had to take their children to London to get a diagnosis. And it really was started up as a charity to give support for those parents and professionals who were working with children who had autism. They knew back then that there was something different about these children. It wasn't just a learning disability, there was something else. And that's why we started up originally. Autism NI was called PAPA, Parents and Professionals for Autism. And then it changed over to Autism NI in the early 2001, 2002. But it really was started up by a group of parents and professionals, and it obviously expanded to the charity it is today. However, the way it started through a parent support group, we still have those parent support groups today, and we actually have 22 throughout Northern Ireland. We also provide early intervention services for children and adults who have just received an autism diagnosis. We also provide training to parents and professionals on the fundamentals of autism, what autism is and how you can support a child with autism. And we also have a helpline, and the helpline really is a first port of call for so many parents and adults who've just received a diagnosis of autism. And the helpline takes over 6,000 calls every single year. We also have a lobbying, we are a lobbying charity, and we provide advocacy and lobbying at Stormont, and we provide the secretariat for the All-Party Group on Autism. And we've been doing that for the past 10, 15 years. And we are really proud of that, where we have a chance to speak to politicians and explain to them what the real issues are that are affecting the autism community here.
Well, you sound like you're very busy, you and your team doing all of that. We're happy to support Autism NI through this conversation this week, and we'll come on to the advocacy shortly, because I know you've been extremely busy there recently. How have you and your charity been affected through the last couple of years? I imagine fundraising's been quite challenged for you.
Yes, fundraising has been a challenge. Obviously, there hasn't been as much fundraising income, same as most charities in Northern Ireland. However, we were lucky to be able to avail of UK and Northern Ireland charitable grants that were given out by the government. So we have came through it okay, but the biggest issue has been obviously so many of our autism community have been isolated during this time. And because of the nature of autism and the break in routines of going to school and going to work, every day, it has been great, it has caused great stress and anxiety for so many of our parents and adults too. And therefore, as I said, we have over 6,000 helpline calls this year coming through this financial year. And that has been a huge increase compared to previous years because of the pandemic. And, you know, children who have been in and out of school for the past 2 years, who are used to that routine and who need that structure and routine, it has been extremely difficult.
Yeah, and obviously you have been working throughout that period as well on the autism bill. For those people that may not be aware of it, what is it and what kind of impact is it going to have for people with autism?
Well, ironically, the pandemic, even though Autism NI still provided their services, albeit all virtually during the pandemic, it gave me a chance to really work on the bigger picture, basically, of what's happening in Northern Ireland with autism services and the lack of services and the lack of implementation of the autism strategy. So it gave me a chance actually during this time to work with the politicians and Pam Cameron, who's a DUP MLA and also the chair of the All-Party Group on Autism. She sponsored the Autism Amendment Bill, which Autism NI provided the administration for and helped support for. And this bill is really going to change the support out there for autism, for autistic families and for adults too. It is a much needed bill. It is the most comprehensive piece of single disability legislation in Europe. It's pretty foolproof. It has everything in it that the autism community need at the minute, including a regional early intervention service, a training strategy, adult support services, measurable targets and outcomes, which you would presume that would already be in the autism strategy, but it's not. So this legislation states that it has to have measurable outcomes and targets. And the most important part of the legislation will be the role of an autism reviewer. So this will be a person that's going to be put into that role to ensure that the autism strategy is actually implemented and done this time. There has been a strategy here for the past 10 years, and it basically wasn't implemented by the Department of Health. And only 1 out of the 3 action plans attached to that strategy was actually implemented. So with this new legislation, that can't happen again. So it's a really great piece of legislation, and I hope that it'll be the start of real change for our autism community here.
Well, congratulations to you and all involved in pushing that through. I know there's been a lot of excitement around getting that through, a lot of relief, and you know, we wish you and everyone who has autism, we hope that they see the benefit of that hard work very, very soon. When you're an employer and you're considering employing people, autism may or may not be apparent at that point of an interview. But what do people with autism bring to employment? Because I know that you offer training services for employers. What qualities do people with autism have that you would advocate towards employment?
Autistic people have fantastic assets to offer employers. Number one, most obvious, would be their attention to detail, conscientiousness, and also the skill set that they would offer. Stereotypically, a lot of autistic people do like to work in areas of work such as IT and that. And Northern Ireland has a huge IT industry here, and one of the biggest in Europe. And I would like to see as many autistic people who want to go down that line of work obviously employed. But unfortunately, the statistics say otherwise. Only 16% of autistic adults are in any type of employment in the UK. And that obviously is, you know, it's disgraceful. It shouldn't be happening. And I think it's because employers don't know how to support somebody with autism. And I think that's the reason why so many charities like ourselves are really out there and flying the flag for autistic people, saying, you know, there's nothing to be afraid of. With a little support and reasonable adjustments, you can have as many autistic people as you want working for you who want to work. We don't want to see autistic adults leaving school and sitting in their bedroom and having nothing to, look forward to. They should be contributing to society. They should be getting up every day. They should be feeling confident. And I feel that employment really is the way through that. And actually the legislation that we have lobbied for, there's a part in that about employability as well, and ensuring employers have the right skills to be able to employ adults with autism. So it's something I'm very, very passionate about. I think people having a job and feeling that confidence in that, and it will obviously have a very positive effect on their mental health too. But the figure of 16% has to change, and it has to change soon. We know the disability figure is around 40, I think it's 40 something percent. But for autistic people to be a third of that, it can't go on. So I would really encourage employers, if you do want to support somebody with autism, please do seek out support such as Autism and I, or other training providers that can give you that knowledge that you need to do that.
Well, Kerry, we all here at Bauer Media Northern Ireland are supporting you and the team at Autism and I, and we wish you all the very best into the future, and we look forward to seeing the results of all the hard work on the autism bill coming into real life action as we move forward. And thanks so much for being our guest this week.
Thank you.